Okay then, so now we've seen strings in more detail, let's shift our focus now to another data type in JavaScript, that is numbers. So we have also briefly seen numbers in action when we looked at variables. We did things like storing age or a year or a score in a variable, and they were all numbers, weren't they? Now we could use numbers for various things in JavaScript, like an age or a score, or how many upvotes a blog post might have, for example, or to perform some kind of calculation. So there's loads of uses for numbers in JavaScript, so let's have a look at them in action. First of all, I'm going to create two variables. I'm going to use let for the first one, and this is called radius, and that's set equal to 10. Now I'm going to create a constant called pi because I don't see myself changing this. I don't want to change it. It's a constant, and that is 3.14. So pi is a special value in maths used to calculate the area of a circle, and the radius is just the radius of the circle. So we have those two variables, which are both numbers. Let's just log them to the console. So we'll say console.log, and then we want the radius and also pi. So let's save that and see if it works. There we go, 10 and 3.14. So these are both numbers. This is a whole number, this is a decimal number, but they're still both numbers, the same data type in JavaScript. Okay? So then what can we do with numbers? Well, we can do all the typical math operations. So let me just write these down first of all. Math operators, and that is a plus, a minus, a multiplication, which is an asterisk, a division, which is a forward slash. Then we have double asterisks, which means to the power of, and then we have percentage, which gets us a remainder. So let's have a look at some of these. First of all, I'm going to console.log, and I'm just going to say 10 divided by 2. Okay, now we don't need these spaces that I've just put in there. I've done that so it's easier to see. And this should get us 5, right? And it does. It performs that calculation and then spits out the result. So that's pretty simple. Now, what if we do something like this? I'm going to say let result equal to the radius, which we have at the top, it's 10. And I'm going to use the percentage 3. So what this does is get us the remainder of a calculation. It takes the radius, divides it by 3, and then gives us the remainder, which should be 1. So let's log this to the console.log, and we want to log out the result variable that we just created right here, which is storing the result of this calculation. It should be 1. That is the remainder, and it is 1. Cool. Okay, so now let me comment this out, and in fact, I'll comment this one out as well. And let's do another. This time we'll say let result equal to the pi, which is 3.14, times the radius to the power of 2. So that is the formula for working out the area of a circle. So we're saying the result is pi r squared. This is the squared bit to the power of 2. Okay? So it's the radius times the radius. So let's save that, and we're logging out the result. And this is the area, 314, which makes sense. Okay, cool. So that's some simple examples. Now, I want to talk about something that you probably already know about, but just in case you don't, I'm going to go through it, and that is the order of operation. Now, this is something you might learn about in school at some point, and it just dictates how we perform calculations when they get a bit more complex. The order of operation, in what order we do these bits of the calculation first. So you might have heard of this, BIDMAS. Let me just type this out. And this is the order we perform the calculations in. First of all, we do any brackets, then any indices, which are these things here, then any division, then multiplication, then addition, then subtraction. So say, for example, we had some kind of complex formula, which is something like this. We'll say let result equal to, and we'll say 5 times, and then in brackets, 10 minus 3, and then we'll do to the power of 2. So it's not overly complex, but this right here dictates in what order we perform this calculation. So first of all, B, brackets, we perform the bracket calculation. So 10 minus 3 is 7. Then indices, which is this. So then we square it. So 7 squared is 49. Then division, well, we don't have any. Then multiplication, which is this thing over here. So we say 5 times 49, which is 245. So that should be the result. So let's log this to the console and see if we're right. 245, cool. Now let me just comment this out. And what I'm going to do now is create a new variable, and we'll say let likes equal to 10. Now imagine this is the number of likes a particular blog has. Now what if we wanted to add 1 to this likes variable? Well, we could do something like this. We could say likes is now equal to likes plus 1. And if we log out likes, console.log likes, then we should see 11, right? So we do, 11. But there is a shorthand version of this in JavaScript. An easier way to do this is by saying likes plus plus, and that adds 1 to the likes. So if I comment out the first one, then this will run and it will still add 1 to the likes, so we should still see 11. And we do. So that is a shorthand operation there, double plus, and it's the same as adding 1 like this. Now the same can be done for minusing a like, so if I comment this out, I could say likes minus minus, and that takes 1, so it should be 9, and we get 9, cool. Now what if we wanted to add 10? Well, we could do the same thing up here. We could say likes is equal to likes plus 10 this time, but an easier way, a shorthand way, is by saying likes is plus equal to 10. So what that does, plus equal, is take the current value and add on this value. So it's going to take the 10 and add on 10. And if we console out the likes, so console.log likes, save it, and we're doing that twice now, so let's delete one of them. We should see this in the console. We see 20, cool. And the same is true for other things like minus or times or divide. So let's do some other examples. I'm going to comment this out, and this time I'm going to say likes and minus equals 5. So it takes 5 away from it. So let's save that, and we get 5 left, that's right. I'm also going to do a couple more examples. So we'll say likes, and we'll say times equals 2. So that is going to take this value and times it by 2, which is 20, and we get 20. And then finally, let's do divide. So we'll say likes, divide equals 2, and that takes the value 10 and divides it by 2. So we should be left with 5, and we are. Cool. So this here, this is all shorthand notation. It's stuff we can do the long way like this. We say likes equals to likes times 2 or plus 2 or whatever, but this is the quicker way of doing it right here. And when it's just 1, we can use plus plus and minus minus, okay? So that's going to speed things up when we're doing little calculations in the future. All right, so just a couple more things I want to talk about. First of all is not a number, or NaN for short. So it looks something like this, N-A-N. Stands for not a number. And we get this value when we try to do something that doesn't make sense, some kind of calculation that doesn't result in a number. For example, if I log to the console 5 over hello, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? We can't do that in real life. And if we do that in JavaScript, we get NaN or N-A-N. It's not a number. And we can do something else. We could say console.log, and we'll say 5 times hello, and log this to the console, and we get not a number. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so that's one little thing. If you get that, it means you've tried to do some kind of calculation that doesn't result in a number, and you've probably made some kind of error along the way. Okay, now the final thing I'd like to show you is how to concatenate numbers. So you know, like we said with strings, we can concatenate them with a plus sign. Well, we can do a similar thing with numbers. If we're trying to add some kind of number into a string, we can do that. So let me give you an example. I'm going to say let result equal to the blog has, and then a space, and I'm going to concatenate this with a number. This thing right here, likes. So plus likes, then I'll concatenate with another string, space, likes. So this should say the blog has 10 likes, and it should result in a string. So it takes the 10 and it adds it into the string, and it creates one big gigantic string here. Well, not gigantic, but you get the point. One big string based on all this. So if I now say console.log the results, we should get that. Let me view in a browser. The blog has 10 likes, okay? Now this is fine. But if we were to do this with a few different numbers and we had quite a big string, then this would quickly get pretty messy when we're trying to concatenate too many variables with a string. Now, fortunately, there is a new way to do this using template strings, and we're going to see that in the very next video.